Hello, my Bible 12 friends. We are recording after everyone else is in bed. Got my blazer on, covering up the spit up on my shoulder, and we are ready to dive back into Bible class. So, if you haven't done so already, head to the Home tab in your Canvas page, because there, under the Warmups tab, you will find Warmup /20 Easter break. And then at the end of this class, you will see exit ticket /20 service motives. Also, there is one more assignment that you'll be doing in the middle, which is, that's announcements. Why did I click that? Which is your normal chapter summary notes. You'll be reading a chapter summary by our very own Demo Dre Dylan Mora. And so that should be here under assignments, chapter 11 summary notes. Boom. So if you find that in assignments, homework, classwork, that should get you on the path toward completing what we need to do today. So today, where I want you to start is just by having a little conversation with your friends, saying what you did over Easter break. Realistically, if you are quarantine, shelter-in-place observant individuals, that probably means that you spent the time at home. And so I want to see, did you guys do anything different this last week? I mean, obviously there wasn't any schoolwork, but was there anything different about this week? Did you do anything special to try and make it feel like a week off? So then after you've done that warm-up, we are going to dive into chapter 11. Chapter 11 in Sacred Marriage is about service. And so we will use Dylan's chapter summary to go ahead and explain to us, okay, what is this service thing, and how does marriage teach us to serve? Because I mean, we're going to follow along with the same theses of all the previous chapters. Marriage teaches us to love. Marriage teaches us to pray. Marriage teaches us to honor and respect. It teaches us to forgive. It teaches us to recognize and discard sin. It teaches us to struggle and consider other people. It teaches us to forgive. It teaches us to persevere even when things get really, really tough. And so we're moving on to service. And so you could probably already guess that marriage in some ways is one of the best ways that we can learn how to serve. I think that we oftentimes put service in a special little category, which some of you might need servanthood out, community service hours, and you think of services, that type of work. By the way, there's a way that you can get hours by watching some videos. So if you're into that, email me and I can get you some details. I think it's in homeroom announcements. But anyway, we think of service as being community service, or sometimes we think of the military, military service. But marriage is actually the perfect grounds, the perfect battlegrounds, the perfect training grounds where a person can learn service. So go ahead and pause this right now and read Dylan's chapter summary to go ahead and get a handle on what this chapter is basically about. Ready, go. And we're back. So this was going to be an assignment, but then I realized what would be better is if I challenge you to actually do something about this in your real life. I found this quote by P.J. O'Rourke. I don't even know who he is, to be honest, but I really like what he said. It's everybody wants to save the earth. Nobody wants to help mom do the dishes. And when it comes to service, I think that that's where we really check our hearts. It's it's easy to go to a homeless mission and see and serve the homeless and give food to the homeless and do cool things for a group of people that are really in dire need and struggling, or going on a mission trip to help build a church for someone in another country. But then when mom or dad asks you to take out the trash, you're like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do that. Or when they say, hey, can you please just sweep the house because there's all these dust bunnies collecting under the couch? You're like, no, thanks. I'd rather not. I've got, I don't know, I got another round of Smash Brothers to play or something like that. And so what I want you to do is, in your current scenario, I want you to imagine what is a practical way that you can serve the people you live with, that you can actually serve them, that you can practice service right where you are. And this is kind of what's at the heart of sacred marriage as well, is that marriage provides the background where you have the opportunity to serve every day. You have the opportunity to serve in the mundane, like regular moments of life where you probably won't ever get any credit. You won't get an award. You might not even get a thank you. But that is the context in which you get to learn how to serve. And so, at the heart of this service, remember, if marriage is not about making us happy, but about making us holy, it is through this practice that marriage allows us to become the type of person that serves naturally, that serves as a part of our character, that serves as a part of who we are. Now, this is where an interesting question arises, like an interesting philosophical question arises. And the question is, can altruism exist? If you do not know what altruism means, I guess you could Google it, or I could Google it for you. Let's see what altruism means according to, this is me on my phone in class. Altruism means the belief in or practice of disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others. Meaning, can you do good things for other people even if you don't get anything out of it? Now, at first glance, you might be like, well, of course, like I could do good things for other people and not have it be about me or getting anything out of it. And like this first category that I have here is obvious mixed motives. Like sometimes we're nice to people because we want something from them, right? Sometimes you behave at home and are nice and kind and cuddly with your parents because you want them to buy you a car. Or because you want to make sure that they pay for your college, and you intentionally do things that are kind and servicey for, I guess, your own gain. And so there's obvious mixed motives, but even when I did my little Google image search for what is like altruism, like just to put up a background on this slide, I just Google searched altruism and did the image tab, and this is the first thing that comes up. Altruism is sexy. How selflessness could increase an individual's desirability, backed by science. So even like altruism, this idea that you're doing something totally for another person, like the way that this like background image thing was selling it is like, you should be altruistic because it makes you more desirable. Well, if that's the case, if you're doing it to make yourself more desirable, is it really altruistic? Is it really just for the good of the other? Or are you serving for your own good so that you can be more attractive and sexier so that people want you more, right? And then when they want you more, then you can get what you want by being wanted. Or like I have a couple other examples, like sometimes we're like, no, I can be altruistic when I'm doing community service and it's not for hours. That's altruism. I just love that good feeling. Well, if you're getting that good feeling out of it, could it be that you're serving for that good feeling? And if you're serving for that good feeling, is it really altruistic? Is it really just for you? Or like if you're serving someone because maybe you have a dispute going on, you want to be nice to them so that they can start liking you. Well, aren't you gaining something by converting a friend or an enemy into a friend? I put that backwards. Or how about like even the biblical version of it? Jesus says, hey, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where you do things for God. And he's like, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, in the kingdom of God. Could it be that that is kind of selfish? Like we're doing things for ourselves by serving others. The reason I bring this up is not to make it seem too dark and be like, there's no such thing as any good people who do things just for other people, but just so that we can actually have like a clear or at least an open and enlightened lens to look at our own actions. Because sometimes I think we're like, no, I'm not selfish. I totally do things just for the good of other people. But then when you like scrape away the surface layer, you realize it's because you wanted things on a college transcript. Or because really deep down you want to be liked, and that makes you feel good when you're liked, and that's why you're so nice. Or deep down you like it when other people tell you how awesome you are for serving. And so that's why you keep doing it. And so I think it's important that we check ourselves before, like at least what sacred marriage claims, before we get into a relationship and into like a marriage relationship where you might go unnoticed and you might go unthinked and you might serve with like little to no visible payoff then are you still willing to serve to become a holier person? Now we could like argue till we're blue in the face, is like, okay, is becoming a holier person, is that something selfish or is that not selfish? Um, but no matter what, I think it's important that we examine our motives for why we serve, for why we try to do good things in this world. And so that's actually your exit ticket. Is I want you, exit ticket 4/20, service motives, to answer these two questions. One, what is the normal human motive behind service? In other words, when people do nice things for others, why do they do them? Think of different kinds of situations. So pick at least 3 different types of situations where people are nice to others, and what would be the motive behind that service? And so, like, why are people nice to their friends? Why are people nice to their romantic interests or their boyfriend or girlfriend? Why are people nice to their parents, teachers, enemies? You can probably think of other scenarios, but pick at least 3 and explain the normal human motive for being nice, for serving, for doing kind things for the sake of the other. And then the second question is it possible to ever serve someone completely selflessly, or is there always something that the servant gets out of it? Is there always some sort of payoff for the person who serves? And if so, does that mean that you can't ever do something that's purely selfless? So go ahead and answer those 2 questions. After you've answered, it's a discussion, so I want you to read other people's posts, and there are likely to be differing opinions. So if you read someone who you're like, I don't think that same way, or that's something I didn't think of, go ahead and give them a like, to show that you've interacted and read with some of the things that they posted. So it's a short lesson today. I want you to think about service. I want you to think about what it means to serve, and I want to give you that extra time to maybe even right now during like the 11:10 to 12:45 period that you can go and actually practically apply that challenge. What's something that you can do to practically serve someone in your household today? If you've fallen behind on your projects, now is the time to catch up. Also, you might notice that in the lesson plans, where are we? In the lesson plans, in the end of the lesson plans, there's 2 things. There's a final memory verse, and you working on lightning strikes. During Wednesday's class, I'm going to give you plenty of time to work on your lightning strike, which is the last component of your marriage project. If you haven't watch the budgeting screencast, you should do that in some of your time today. Also, Zoom mandates passwords now, so the password to my class is easy. It's 1 2 3 4 5 6. And then don't forget, you'll have a final memory verse quiz, which means set up an appointment with me. It's this Friday, but really it's like flexible. As long as you contact me and let me know when you're going to do this thing, we'll be good for your final memory verse quiz. So if you have any questions, pop into our meeting at the end of class. I'll be there the last 15 minutes of class. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.